principled opponent of the Iraq War. You know, a lot of praise. What was his criticism? His criticism was that it was a strategic blunder, like Nazi generals after Stalingrad, or what you could read in Pravda in 1985, when a lot of people were saying openly, it was a strategic blunder to invade Afghanistan. We don't call that principled critique when others do it. I mean, we call it criminal. But to try to look at ourselves is extremely hard. I mean, not just in the United States, almost anywhere. Your own history is whitewashed consistently. I mean, we even do it in personal life, if we're honest. It's pretty hard to look in the mirror, but it's crucial if you want to understand the world. And it's crucial for the entire world in our case, because the U.S. is so powerful.
You don't want to answer my second question?
Pardon?
You don't want to answer my second question?
Sure.
What's your happiest moment in life?
Happy? No, that one, as I said, I'm not going to answer.
You just say like clam chowder or something, that's fine.
Pardon?
You just can say clam chowder.
No, a lot happier than that.
Hello. Thank you again for coming to speak to us today. It was very informative. In your talk, you discussed the importance of the Geneva Conventions today in setting an appropriate standard and code of conduct and behavior in international affairs, and especially in times of conflict. You used the Geneva Conventions and then you applied it to Israel, especially in their last Gaza war and some of the actions that Israel's done in the past. I wanted to ask your opinion. Do you think that these same conventions and standards should be applied to Hamas, even though they are a non-state actor and don't have conventional military forces? And also, do you think the Geneva Conventions need to be adapted today for the question of asymmetric warfare?
Well, on the second, I don't see any reason whatsoever why the Geneva Conventions should be modified for what we call asymmetric warfare. Asymmetric warfare refers to our invasions of other countries and resistance to the invasions by people who are weaker. We didn't call it asymmetric warfare when we were supporting radical Islamists to try to drive the Russians out of Afghanistan. Okay? We didn't call the partisans in Europe asymmetric warfare when they were fighting the Nazis. Asymmetric warfare means when somebody tries to defend themselves against us or our clients. And there's no reason now why the Geneva Conventions have to be changed for that any more than there were when the Nazis killed the partisans. So the second question, no. As far as Hamas is concerned, Hamas is a political party. Okay? And you can't really apply international law to a political party. You can say that actions of a political party are criminal, right? And some of Hamas's actions are criminal. So sure, if for example, take, say, the Amnesty International report I mentioned. It didn't just say we should stop supplying arms to Israel. It said we should stop applying arms to Israel and Hamas. Well, we don't supply arms to Hamas. But if we were doing it, we should stop. Okay? So sure, same standards should apply. But it's just, it's so fantastically disproportionate that it's almost meaningless to raise the question. I mean, if Hamas, for example, says we'll never recognize Israel, okay, there's a political party has a right to say that. I mean, if a political party in Mexico says, I'm never going to recognize the United States, which sits on half of Mexico, obtained by conquest, that's a legitimate position. The ruling party in Israel, Likud, happens to have as its platform, you can pick it up on the internet, its official platform is there cannot be a Palestinian state anywhere in what they call the land of Israel, Jordan to the sea. Okay, it's kind of like Hamas's program plan. Nobody talks about it because they're our ally and client, so they can say whatever they want. And they're not only talking about it, they're doing it. But sure, if Hamas fires rockets at Sderot, we should stop helping them do that. And in fact, we should take actions to prevent them from doing it. And we know what the actions are, accept the ceasefire. When the U.S. and Israel did accept the ceasefire, the rockets stopped. And that's officially conceded. You can read it on the Israeli government website, official website. So sure, we should take actions to prevent criminal acts by sub-state actors.
All right, thank you very much.
Sorry?
I know. My name is David Target. I'm one of the deans here. And I wanted to answer the question that some students had about what we can do about the various political situations that we're hearing about. And actually, the answer to that question lies right here in this room. 18 years ago, the East Timor Action Network established its kind of core here at an event that took place in Solomon 101 when Alan Nairn, a journalist, and Amy Goodman, another journalist, had come here to talk about a recent massacre in East Timor, one of the last massacres, one of the most recent massacres that was part of an ongoing series of massacres that had killed roughly 1/3 of the population of East Timor, and Noam, you've written about that quite a bit. People here actually, it only took a few hundred people. There's only 400 or 500 people in this room. Got together and figured out strategically who to talk to, who to write to within Congress to end military aid to Indonesia. And that was actually the very first step, the very first action by the United States to its ally, Indonesia, say that we really disapprove of what you're doing in killing innocent Timorese people. And it was the beginning and the end of the occupation and killing in East Timor. Right now, unfortunately, we're back. Yeah, I will. Right now, we're back in a similar situation, and that is that we're about to resume military aid to Indonesia, and I was wondering what your thoughts about that were and what we could do about that at this point in history.
Yeah, actually, the forming ETAN, the East Timor Action Network, was quite an important action. The Indonesian invasion of East Timor began in 1975 with strong U.S. support all the way through, also support of Britain, France, and others. Indonesia's a rich country, it's advantageous to be friendly to them. And as you said, it killed, maybe the worst act of genocide in the late 20th century, or one of the worst. All completely with U.S. support. Opposition actually began in 75, but it was minuscule. Talked to two people about it. It did build up, and after the Dili massacre, the one you're talking about, when Alan Nairn and Amy Goodman were attacked by Indonesian forces, it did get some publicity, and groups, and ETAN was formed, and that was extremely important. And remember, that was 1991, and the killing went on for another 8 years. The Clinton administration strongly supported Suharto. He was our kind of guy. The Clinton administration said right through 1999, atrocities and massacres continued. It's particularly striking because this was the same year that there was a lot of agonizing about the Serbian atrocities in Kosovo, which were nowhere near as severe as what was going on in East Timor. And of course, the background didn't even come close. Finally, there was a major massacre in August 1999, and at that point, international protest and domestic protest, which by then had built up, and ETAN had a lot to do with this, international protest against Clinton was so strong that he took a very simple step. He told the Indonesian army, it's over. Literally. They had sworn they're never going to depart. This is our province, we're never going to leave. As soon as they got, a word from the master saying, game's over, they immediately withdrew. Okay, that tells you something. That tells you for the preceding 25 years, the United States could have stopped it, with a flick of a wrist. You didn't have to bomb Jakarta, you didn't need sanctions, didn't need anything. Just stop supporting it, and it's over. It's kind of a little like what happened with South Africa. And it could happen in this case, too.
So just to follow up, what could students